the bottom line is he may not, the whole test is probably garbage. Remember, I talked about this a month ago. 90% of those tested positive for COVID-19 are wrongly diagnosed. And this is from the New York Times. The New York Times saying we reviewed testing data from 3 states, Massachusetts, New York, Nevada. Up to 90% of the people who tested positive carried barely any virus. Carried barely any virus. Do you understand what that means? And the implications for the test? As we said from the very beginning, and John Rappaport was spot on from the very beginning with this. He said, you cannot use a PCR test. The guy who invented it, who won a Nobel Prize for it, said you can't use it for this. That's not what it's for. And that's what they've been using. Why can't you use it? Because it doesn't measure viral load. Because it will flash positive for such a small quantity that people are asymptomatic, that they're not sick, and that they can't spread it with such a small viral load. So they're not contagious. And now we've had with this rapid test, and so as I point out, that means up to 9% of those, this is a headline, up to 90% of those tested positive for COVID-19 are wrongly diagnosed. But the New York Times conclusion is, so we need to do more testing. This is always the solution from the people who push big government. No matter how badly government fails, no matter how badly their test fails, we need to do more of it. Which is the very definition of insanity, or the very definition of the Democrat Party or government itself. And so when we look at this, the new Abbott test is not any better. As a matter of fact, before this, 2 weeks before this came out of the New York Times, there was a bulletin coming out from the CDC saying, we're concerned about this, and we want all of you to report your false negatives and your false positives. We really do need to follow up on this. And so when we look at how this is shaking out, remember on Tuesday, let's just review here. August 23rd, the FDA does an emergency authorization of the Abbott rapid test. It's got a shorter swab, so it's not as invasive. You don't have to tickle your medulla oblongata. You can just, it's a shorter stick. You stick it up your nose, you put it in this thing, results in 15 minutes. Maybe longer if you've got a giant DMV line of everybody who has to be tested in order to go somewhere. Nevertheless, it only costs $5. The Trump administration, within a couple of days of that approval, did a $750 million deal with Abbott. Their stock shot up 8%. 150 million of these rapid coronavirus tests. Is this what they used on President Trump? And like the PCR test, it does not test for the quantity. As a matter of fact, it doesn't even test for the presence of a presumed virus. It tests for proteins that they say are associated with the virus. Are you kidding me? What garbage this is. But it's even more dangerous. It's even more dangerous because if you look at the press release from Abbott Labs, as they're talking about this, they say, well, we'll also launch along with it a complimentary mobile app for iPhone and Android, available at no charge. This will allow people who test negative to display a temporary digital health pass. This is where they're coming. They've always been about the health pass. And they've got the software there, just like the little, I told you, 201 days ago, March 16th. I said, this is what I've been told. They're looking for a situation where you're tested daily. Once you test negative, they give you the little wrist and you can go. Except, of course, it's going to be on a computer. Here it is, right here, Abbott Labs. You get the test, and then it updates on your little phone, and you can show people. You can renew this each time you're tested, and you can show people the date of the test and the test results, and they can let you go on your merry way. And you've got, as I reported on Tuesday, you've got the airlines begging for that, begging for it. All right, folks, we've got to take a break real quickly. We have it's a little bit less than 1 week now. Preparewithalex.com. We have from $150 to $600 off storable food, depending on the quantity. 3 months, 6 months, 1 year. We have a big discount, $40 off the Alexa Pure Pitcher water filter. Also, $25 off the Ready Hour wireless solar power bank charger. and 28 LED room light. You better prepare right now. Great opportunity. Food, water, electricity. Preparewithalex.com. Many specials also at InfoWarsStore.com. 30 to 60% off and free shipping. We look at these tests that a month ago, New York Times was saying, well, they're 90% of the people who tested positive are wrongly diagnosed. So the solution is we need to do more of that. And we had the rapid test developed by Abbott Labs, and immediately the Trump White House spent $750 million to buy 150 million of these rapid test kits. The Democrats, as part of their $2.2 trillion COVID package, put in $75 billion for coronavirus testing and tracing. Now, if you use this rapid test kit, the tracing is free. They have an app. You can use that as a health passport. They call it a digital health pass. This is Abbott. We got an app for iPhone and Android, free. It allows people who test negative to display their temporary digital health pass, renewed each time a person is tested through their healthcare provider, together with the date of the test results. This is very dangerous because this is the precursor to requiring that you prove that you've tested negative. And as I said, when I talked about this on Tuesday, it only takes 15 minutes, but that's 15 minutes. That's a long time to sit around before you can go anywhere. And you have to have one of these every day so you can go shopping, go to your job, go to school, get on an airplane. We have the airplanes begging to relax the quarantine rules, supporting mandatory testing instead. What do you think they're going to do? They're going to use this Abbott test. The PCR test takes days to get that result back. The only thing you could use in that environment would be the quote-unquote fast test, the 15-minute test. You could go somewhere else to have it done, and then you show up to the airport and you show them your phone. Okay, come on in. You can come on now, all right? And then eventually they're going to transition from this. People are going to get tired of this, right? Well, you can make it all go away if you take the vaccine that was developed by Bill Gates and MIT. We talked about that about a year ago. They developed it. It's a vaccine and a digital tattoo. Don't worry, you won't see anything unless you hit it with a special light and with a special app. And then we can tell when you were vaccinated. And so that's the way they're going to ease you in. The key thing about this, and I hope, because I don't know, I've scratched my head now for the last 6 months, first about the lockdown and then about Operation Warp Speed. Like, what is the problem with Trump? Why would he say that the vaccine is how we get out of all this stuff? It's not how we get out of this. Stop pushing vaccines more than Bill Gates does. He has financed it more than Bill Gates has ever financed vaccines. And now holding this out there as the only way to end lockdown. Hopefully, maybe President Trump could come to the realization, if he hasn't turned, he could come to the realization that what we need is just effective, cheap treatments that are being withheld from people. The federal government has a massive stash of hoarding HCQ. They need to release that. They need to stop punishing doctors, threatening pharmacists who prescribe this, who hand this out to people, which is what they've been doing. So hopefully that will happen. I don't know, but it is going to impact the campaign. Hopefully it will impact our lives in a positive way if we can show that this doesn't need to continue. All right, so could Trump's coronavirus test be a false positive? Well, there's a 90% chance that it could be, according to the New York Times. But of course, we should do more of them, and we should test everybody. And we should make the unreliable tests a travel permit for everyone as well. Because that's what the people at Abbott Labs, that the Trump White House has bought 150 million of these rapid tests, spent $750 million to do it. And it looks like the Democrats, through the stimulus thing, they're looking at spending $75 billion on testing and tracking because, you know, the two things are right there together in the Abbott Lab. The free app you can put on your phone, and then they'll update it, and that becomes your health pass, your immunity passport, if you will. It's not an immunity passport, but it's your health pass. The immunity passport will come when you get your vaccine and your tattoo. This is how they're conditioning us slowly, folks. I mean, things are moving pretty quickly, but it's how they're conditioning us. I talked about this on Tuesday. You can see the video at band.video. Daily testing travel permits are rolling out now. That was my take on it on Tuesday. With this is a good opportunity because here's a situation that the left is in. Either this test is false, or I think that President Trump is going to be able to show if it is positive, then they can show that hydroxychloroquine and these other things work. There's nothing to be afraid about. We can go back to our normal lives. It has nothing to do with the masks. And they're going to use it, though, to mask the immediate repercussions of this are going to be focused around the debate. They're going to use this to try to shut down the vice presidential debate or to shut down or to alter the way the debates are held in the future between Trump and Biden. Because remember, we're less than 2 weeks out. And these people are saying, well, you know, within 2 weeks, he'll probably be symptomatic. And then within another 2 weeks, he'll be in the hospital. That's what CNN is telling us now. We don't even know if this is real. 90% chance it's not. And let's go back to Biden, because he's telling us, according to the military, and I don't even know about, because again, they don't have the tests. They don't have tests that work. At the very beginning of all this, they said they didn't have tests. Told you about it. Just remember, it's an aha moment if you can't remember this when you tell people about this, because you got to get the word out. You got to spread this word out to people. Tell them the American Hospital Association is hitting back at Medicare, trying to take away some of their COVID bonus money that they've diagnosed people. They said, but we did clinical diagnoses, and you told us to do that because you told us you didn't have the tests. You didn't have enough tests, and the few tests that you did have, you said they weren't reliable and they didn't work, so you wanted us to do clinical diagnoses. And now you say you're not going to pay us for the clinical diagnosis? You're not going to pay us that big bonus? You know, anybody that has a cold, yeah, it's COVID, $19,000. Ka-ching. Let's put them on an invasive ventilator and blow their lungs out. That's worth another $39,000. Not to mention charging them for the use of the machine and the daily hospitalization rate. And they have to do that because, you know, they got that kind of, they don't have to do it, but they've got that kind of economic pressure on them to lie because they've had all their other services shut down by people like Greg Abbott.
The time for inaction is over. The globalists are making their move against every free country on earth. They want us dependent, they want us domesticated, they want us desperate. And the biggest thing they want is people to not have high quality storable food and high quality water filtration, because then they can control you in any crisis. They also want you disarmed. InfoWars does not have the guns, but you certainly need those and the training. But we have the best storable food at the lowest price with the highest quality you're gonna find. And we have the best water filtration. You can go to InfoWarsStore.com and get it, but if you go to preparewithalex.com, you will find specials that are the lowest price ever offered on these high quality water filtration, also air filtration, but also storable food. It's only running for another 6 days. You've got to stop the special. We ended the special a few days ago. People got really upset, but now they've brought the special back for 6 days. Preparewithalex.com. With all the crazy stuff happening right now, get prepared today. Get your storable food. It's ready to ship. Preparewithalex.com.